Duward Peterson, age 97. Those numbers are getting awful big.
Oh, where were you born?
Cloquet, Minnesota, April 5th, 1925. Went from Minnesota in 25 to Boyd, where we eventually lived in 1930. So I was only up in Minnesota for 5 years.
Is that Boyd, Wisconsin?
Boyd, yeah. Yeah, I was in grade school and high school. Spent all 12 years in high school in Boyd. Graduated in 1st of May, 1942. 17 years old. And I tried to enlist in the Navy Air Corps, went to Minneapolis, passed all the tests until they gave me the color chart. I couldn't see one color from another, colorblind. So that knocked me out of the Navy Air Corps. So I came back home for another few months and finally got the notice that I should report to the courthouse and ship up for induction. That was in July. Left Chippewa in I think it was July 9th, 1943, with a bunch of other greenhorns.
How hard times was it in your area?
Well, actually, I really didn't pay any attention to it, probably because for as food goes, we had a garden, potatoes and everything else there. But I do remember we had a neighbor, about a quarter of a mile away. Their last name was S-E-E, to a German couple, and they had one cow. So we went over there once or twice a week and got a quart of milk, 15 cents. They were across the field, so I just cut across the fields over a couple fences and got the milk and came back home.
So did they pasteurize it back then, or did they just put it right into a bottle and give it to you?
I don't know if the pasteurization name was even heard about it back then.
That's pretty fresh.
Yeah, real fresh. Speaking of fresh, there was when that cow had a calf, the milk they took from that cow after the calf was born was real yellow. And we just once in a while we pick up part of that yellow milk and bring it home. My mother would put it in some kind of container and bake it. They call it carvedance. I've never heard of it in my life before, but it wasn't the greatest tasting stuff either.
Where did you go to school?
In Boyd High School. We had a big class. We had 21 in our class.
Did you play any sports?
Just basketball.
How did you like that?
Well, I had to like it. That's all we had to do in the wintertime. We didn't have a very good team. It was an average team, not very good. But the thing about that, back in high school we played Cornell High School, and that had the gym they used at that time had a real high ceiling, a real low ceiling. And you couldn't shoot a real high shot. You have to shoot almost a line drive to get into the basket. And then there was another town we played with down Fairchild, if you know where Fairchild is.
I know.
Their gym was downtown in some big building downtown with the must have had the furnace in the basement. They had grates in the corner where the heat came up. But the high school was up on the end of the street, maybe 3-4 blocks. So we had to change our uniforms there and then run down the middle of the winter to the street to go to this place to play basketball.
You remember your guys' win to loss ratio?
Yeah, well, I think we were about a 500 team. Maybe a couple of years we were a little bit better, but we never did win any championships.